What is up, everybody? I am sorry for skipping a week. Just to keep you updated on my life, I am in the middle of closing on a home, and my wife is in her second trimester, and we're expecting a baby boy in August. So life is just a little crazy on my end. Um, so, but we're still gonna get this My Hero print done, even if it takes like 3 months. No, I'm kidding. It won't take 3 months. I'm actually behind the scenes. I've been working on the actual traditional part of it. So the print is coming along, but I still have the footage from when I was sketching out a few more of the characters. And like I said before, I think I'm just gonna stick to some of the highlights, some of the more favorite characters for the on video. So, characters that I'm gonna sketch out that won't be seen on video, I'd say will be All for One, um, Twice, and Redestro, I believe, are the only ones that aren't seen. Other than, yeah, right? Yeah. But you get to see some of them, so. um, so, yeah, Kurogiri. We're moving right into him. Uh, the thing I like about this character is his the shadow that you can use, the use of shadow that you can work with for his like smoky face. You can see I'm filling it in right now. You can definitely create an interesting sort of silhouette, and that's kind of how I create fires. I just kind of go really erratic with my lines and just really randomize it. And I mean, it's not fire, but it's like a hint, it's like a sense of fire, right? It's like a smoky purpleness. But and I think that's what I'm gonna go with the shape for him, just because it's not as easy to kind of convey his like smokiness in a non-fiery way for me personally. You probably have a way better way to do it, but this is how I'm gonna this is how I'm gonna do it. And if you are trying to like do more fiery shape, then like I said, getting real erratic with your lines will do the trick just fine. Um, Moving down into my man's sleeves, you want to make sure that at his tension point down where his armpit is, that's where the sleeve is kind of wrapping around, right? So that's how the folds are going to be created. And yeah, here we go again. Just kind of a randomized line for the fire. What kind of best works with the silhouette. And he's just rolling in. He's rolling in, cleaning the glass in the middle of War with the Pro Heroes. And I was thinking if a year goes by and I'm like celebrating the year anniversary of this print, maybe if I'm not like hella busy from this new baby, I'll do a Class 1A print to kind of complete the trifecta of group shots. You got the Pro Heroes, the League of Villains, and Class 1A. And I think it would make for kind of a cool, art piece to have just hung up all in one long row. And another thing I'm thinking about is when it comes to working at conventions, having all three of those hung up would definitely be like an attention grabber, and that's one thing that you want to think about when if you ever will table at a convention. What will be the thing that stands out most, that grabs people and brings them to my booth? And My Hero is definitely one of those things. In my experience, I've been doing this for like, I'd say 4 years now, and it's rotated. But now, posting this on February 26th of 2022, I'd say Genshin and My Hero get the most eyes at my table at least. But there's a wide range of fandoms that come to anime conventions and stuff like that. So you do want to make sure you come with some variety, because if you're just like a My Hero specific artist, you're not going to get as many customers. And um, as time has gone on, I started as like pretty much just DBZ, but now it's like the thrill in trying to draw a new thing to me is kind of like the most entertaining part about being an artist at this point. After doing it for so many years, drawing the same kind of fan art, whether it be like Dragon Ball Z or Marvel, if I get like a commission message that's just this whole new uh, show or game that I've never heard of, and the character design is awesome, I'll get like excited to, you know, see my own take on how that will come out. So yeah, I don't know why I went on that huge tangent, but yeah, if you decide to table at cons, think about ways to kind of pull in your audience. And I think having a Class 1A, I mean, even just the pro heroes and the villains on a print is going to be pretty cool, but having those three, it'll definitely pull in eyes. And since just getting way too into the logistics of this, but it's kind of like the way you need to think about having a business in a way, being a salesman is, man, I'm really not liking this leg. I'll be honest with you guys. But part of, being an artist is also being a business. So you need to think about things like what's the best way to sell and showcase my art. And, you know, that's pretty important when it comes to tabling at conventions, because it's pretty hard to, for me, it's, at least because I'm not a super outgoing person, I won't be like standing there at my booth telling people to come over, or like, hey, what are you doing? Come check out my artwork. Uh, I'm gonna just be sitting there most of the time, just drawing or working on something that I need to work on. And then if somebody comes up and is, you know, feels free to ask me questions, I'll answer. And if they want to grab some art, I'll sell it. But there's definitely some people that I've tabled next to that are just way more aggressive about their sales tactics, where they will be a lot more. I don't know how to say it, but they'll it works. It works sometimes when they're like really aggressive about telling people to come over to the booth. But you know, I'd rather, personally for me, just let the art speak for itself. And if somebody comes over and checks it out, then hell yeah. But anyways, I could go on and on about convention stories and kind of the logistics and the business and kind of what I've learned behind it, just because it's such a unique part of my art journey that I've had to just like learn so much about. And there's so much to it when it comes to like trying to come up with products and trying to come up with sales and running a website, and also ordering prints and ordering books and all of the different types of companies that I need to work with to be able to create the products. It's a lot, but that is a good video idea. Or maybe you'll just get it sprinkled through all my videos, who knows. But yeah, you can see I'm just not really digging the situation I got going on with Kurogiri right now. Sometimes that's why I turn the ink off, is because I'll look at the sketch, because there's a reason I stopped sketching it. I liked where it was, but it kind of comes down to like, why can't I get this to look like the sketch? And usually it just comes down to a few things, like, for example, making his head higher, or like making his eyes a bit more slanted and evilly, But it just kind of takes some time chopping away at it, and you can see I'm just not really super liking it as much as the sketch, because the sketch feels like there's so much more flow to it. And now I'm seeing that it's the pants, right? There's that dip in the middle of where the knee area is, and it doesn't feel like it follows through as much as the sketch does. So, and that's why I'm always kind of like moving the position of the legs. But I think eventually I'm gonna just be like, these legs suck. I'm gonna start over, and sometimes that's what you gotta do to get the result you want. But because you don't want to just be sitting there for like an hour just liquefying small tiny things. Sometimes if you just delete it and draw it again, you'll get a way better result. Because I'm just trying to find what it is that makes the leg in that sketch so fluid. Like, it feels like his pants are a bit too chunky for me, but that's one of the challenging things about tightening inks but still trying to maintain the fluidity of a loose sketch. And now here I'm just like, what is it? What is it? Turning the layer on and off. What am I missing here? Um, but like I said, sometimes you just gotta throw that leg away and start over completely, because it just, you get a fresh new look at it and kind of a new start and everything. And already I think I'm a bit happier with this leg. It was that outside, right? That outside line that felt a bit too jagged. And so going with this more like straight line following through down to the whole thing, I think that's what I was looking for, because his pants are pretty fitted and I don't want him to look too baggy. So, but I think this is definitely a lot better than where the sketch was like 5 minutes ago, for example. And that's all it really takes, is just messing around, trying to get it to where it needs to be. So now we're going to dive into those little flurries of smoke that are coming off of him to help create and bring the whole thing together. And with these, it's not just about like carefully drawing circly lines. Like, you have to be quick with your strokes to make them look like they have movement. And I think I've pretty much said it plenty of times by now to be quick and confident with your pen strokes. But as you can see, it's just like, yeah, the stupid auto correct on the line always gets me. But it's perfect when when you really need it, but it's also super annoying when you're just trying to make some roundy lines, But we got this smoke coming off of him, and yeah, we got a little Kurogiri right here. It looks a little like lightning, but I'll be able to fix that when I transfer to the traditional. I don't really know what I'm gonna do when I'm posting these. If I'm gonna keep doing the wrapping thing. I'm like still super enjoying that. Although I got a flippin' community strike on TikTok for one of mine, for a chompette drawing, which I guess was just a little too sexy for TikTok, because they hit me with the nudity. And it's just a little bit of cleavage, but I've seen a lot of that on TikTok, so I don't know what the deal is, but what can you do? What can you do? Whatever. I'm sure they won't community strike Mr. Kurogiri here. He seems to not be breaking any of the rules. Unless there's a rule for not being allowed to have a smoky head, then whatever, dude. All right. Let's move on to the next one. We got Toga here. Now I'm going to say, before we finish up Toga, I did a lot of kind of fixing and editing her pose after the footage that recorded was done, so just kind of rounding her out a bit more. I felt like the pose that we landed on at the end of this still wasn't quite there, so I did some adjustments, but generally, the whole thing is still there. But much like you see me do when I finish a pose, I'll just like kind of liquefy it around until I get it to a place that it needs to be. So I just did that a bit more. But we got the face still in here and everything. So what I'm thinking about once this series is over, I'd say that there's maybe going to be two more parts, 3 more parts at most, but I think I can get it done in 2 parts, because if I make one part all of the traditional drawing, and then the last part, the composition and like the creation of the print part, the section, then I could probably get it done in 2 parts. But I'm gonna say 3 to be safe. But I created a list of other stuff that I could do on this YouTube channel when it's done. And let's see, I'll pull it up. I got a dynamic posing tutorial, which is kind of what this is, but I think I can go a bit more into perspective because these drawings in particular aren't very perspective-based drawings. They're just kind of like forward-facing poses, similar to what I usually do with when designing Funko Pops. So you're kind of getting a taste of how I design the poses for Pops. Other than having a tiny normal head, there would be a humongous Pop head, and also the bodies would be a bit more chunkier. Well, not really chunkier, but more like shorter limbs, stuff like that. But yeah, going back to the list of video ideas, I was thinking I could do an office tour, but then again, like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm closing on a house. So I guess it would be kind of cool to do like the office that I've worked in only for the past 4 years, and then kind of like a new office of how I'm setting up my new place. It seems to be a very traditional type of YouTube video. But it would be kind of sick, I think, before we start kind of packing this office up to get some footage of it, and then showing you guys the new workplace that I'm going to be dealing with for the next 5 or 6 years. So an office tour, an art supplies deep dive. If there's anything that I get asked on all of my social media, whether it be any platform. Oh, first, real quick, I just want to say here about Toga's arm. If you want to think about the movement in her, like whipping that knife to the other side. So you want to put it in the clothes, right? By doing that, I show you that the kind of tip of that sleeve is just like flying upwards, and it kind of adds to the motion of the arm being like pulled that way. And same with the shape of the blood being created. But yeah, in art supplies deep dive, how to find your style, character design, breaking down perspective, tips for using markers. So I'm still focused on this YouTube channel as a way to just do much longer tutorials, and yeah, because you're probably not going to get much from my short reels on Instagram or TikTok. But if you want actual tutorials, this would be the place to go. And like I said, I'll probably do a deep dive on all my supplies because it's a lot. I have a pretty crazy arsenal of markers and ink pens and pencils and just a lot of stuff. So, and most of them all play a part in how my drawings are made. And I was thinking of doing a showcase of some of my favorite art books and kind of tutorial books. I think that would be super helpful to you guys, and I can link them and everything. But yeah, please, if you have any other ideas of stuff I should do, please comment below. Excuse me. Please comment below and tell me what you would like to see from me, because I don't plan on disappearing again. Yeah, well, I should put a big asterisk here because I do literally have a baby coming along, so it might be hard to pump out these videos. But I'm pretty committed to trying to keep this thing active. So if you do have any more ideas of what you would like to see from me, then please let me know, because the more ideas, the merrier. When you're an artist, when you're making art TikToks, there's only so many things you can cover until it's like you've kind of covered every part of what you know about your craft. I see a lot of artists do challenges and stuff like that, which is something I might have to do, but we'll start with like the tutorials and the step by steps and the like little videos like the office tour and stuff, and see where it takes us. Um, but like I said, sorry for skipping a week. I know I had that video every week streak for like, was it a month or two? And I was feeling good. I was like, dude, yeah, I'm on it. But I had to skip a week, and I had to do the same thing with my webcomic. I had like a 4 month streak of doing 2 pages every week, and I had to do 1 page just because I'm taking on a lot of work to help offset the costs of this upcoming baby in this house. So pretty busy, but you just can't lose yourself in the work aspect of being an artist. You always want to keep working on stuff you love. Like this print. This print is just completely something I'm just doing for fun, and also recording the process of it while I do it, just because I think it would be super helpful for you guys. So, yeah. And now I'm doing that same thing that I was doing with Kurogiri with Toga, just trying to kind of understand what's missing in the final sketch compared to the final ink stage compared to the sketch that I made. Where's the fluidity being lost? So I'm just kind of experimenting a lot, and you're gonna see that I'm gonna finish it off pretty soon here. But I'm still gonna be pretty unhappy with how it comes out. So, actually, you know what? I'll just save the final version when I switch over to Shigaraki and just show you how it came out. So this is where it ended here, and I think if I can make it easy to understand, my biggest issues were the head was a little too small and the hand holding the needle. You can see I updated that a bit. So this is the final sketch before ending Toga. Okay, so moving right along to Shigaraki, I forgot to start hitting record when I was drawing his face, so you can see that's why I did the little time lapse there for a second. But this, I wanted to get that real evil look in his eyes. I wanted to kind of get that happy, sort of like psychotic look going on with the wind blowing in his hair, because his hair is like long, kind of halfway through the series, and I think that could really do well for the kind of dynamics of his silhouette. It's kind of weird. For all these characters, there's no specific point in the series of which I make them all consistent. Like, this is like season 4, or is it this is like season 5 Shigaraki, and some of the characters' designs are from season 2, and then, but we still have Redestro, which is season 5 in there. But hey, like I said in the other one, there's no rules with this one. It's just drawing a bunch of the fun characters. And now one thing I'm thinking about when doing this is all of the different hand placements of his body and how I need to leave space. And so, for example, around his neck, he has to have some hands clasping, and in between his hood and on his shoulders, I need to make them fit too. And when it comes to these types of hands that are on his body, it is kind of easier to break it down in more of just shape instead of doing each finger separate, because he's gonna just be one part of the print, so you don't want it to look too busy. So you can see I just kind of make it a shape, and I throw in those lines. Yeah, it's not all about kind of getting all of the detail in for these drawings, because I need to think about how small they're going to be at the end stage, and how much of that detail is going to be kind of lost in the scaling down of this. And you'll have noticed a bit earlier back there, about 30 seconds ago, a jump in time happened where I finished like the legs and everything. And that was for some reason the footage got a little messed up and stopped sort of fluidly recording, and it just became like a annoying slideshow thing. But luckily, we still have this part of the footage. It's not like the whole thing is kind of lost, but that's just some of the beauties of relying on an iPad to record your your tutorial videos. But it's all right. It's all right. We got a lot of the footage done and in here. But as I was saying, I'm just kind of making the hands very rough shapes that are wrapping around his shoulders. Uh, you just don't want to do the separate fingers. That's just too much. That's too much detail for you, and you're gonna be here all day. And you gotta go get something to eat. You gotta go take a break at some point. So don't be spending hours just putting little meticulous details on a bunch of fingers. If you're drawing a character like Shigaraki specifically, like if you're drawing regular characters, you'll probably be drawing one set of hands. But if you're doing this character, then you're drawing like 10 hands, and that's a lot of time to be spent. But yeah, so gotta make sure we add his top hand, his head hand. Do you guys see this guy's backstory? I'm not gonna say any spoilers, but I'd say probably one of the most twisted, coolest backstories that I've seen in anime in a long time. Very creative. If you haven't, then I definitely recommend checking it out. It's in season 5, or just hit up a YouTube video. I'm pretty sure they compiled it all together because it was, I think, over the span of like 2 or 3 episodes, but it's a pretty crazy one. And hey, that's the best thing about animes is like once you are at the point where you're like finally seeing a character in action, it's like usually there's like a juxtaposition. Is that the right word? A juxtaposition of their backstory going on at the same time. But now that I got most of the sketch down, it's just coming down to me just making some changes, like that waist kind of lifted up a bit. He has some real sort of lanky legs, if you notice in the manga and in the anime. So I just will raise his waist a bit and really kind of accentuate the lankiness of his legs. Kind of really want to have them sticking out of the silhouette there from the jacket. And these jacket belts are looking a bit too weird. Get rid of those. Start over. Can't be afraid. If anything, if you take away anything from this video, you just can't be afraid to just delete what you're working on and start over if you're not feeling it. So, and that happens quite a lot for me. But we're coming to the close of this Shigaraki sketch and also the close of this video. So, again, I'm just going to say thank you, everybody, for sticking with me as I get through this monster of a print project. And I hope it has been, a fun time and a pretty good learning experience for you as I have made my way through it. And please like, comment, subscribe, all of that jazz. And after this series is done, we'll get into some different types of content. But I feel like having something like this on the channel is going to be nice to kind of reflect back on when kind of making the whole creation of how this print came to be. So in the next part, you can expect that we're moving into traditional. I think we're going to, like these last 2 parts, maybe do 2 or 3 characters per video, and I'll just speed it down to 10 minutes. So look forward to that next week. I'll catch you guys later.